All right. So, hello everybody. It's Michele Maher here again, and I'm interviewing Cherene Francis. Thank you, Cherene, for giving me your time. It's really great to have your, um, to be able to have a conversation with you and to find out how you're doing and what advice you have for everybody. So, Cherene, if you can give us a idea of who you are and what you do.
Yes, and thanks for your time and bringing me on to this conversation. So I am Cherene Francis, and I work in the personal development industry, specifically around helping business owners present themselves as best as possible so that they can attract the opportunities that they're looking for, cultivate relationships, create more sales and more business. I do that through mindset work, through personal presentation, as well as through branding and marketing strategies. And so, yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's great. So, as we were just kind of talking before we started recording, um, we're all sitting here in uncharted territory that we've never been in before. And I know for myself on Thursday, I really got sucked into the panic and everything in the afternoon when the NBA suspended their season, and then it went just down, 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 and the Facebook feed became all bad news. And I even ended up going to Costco on Friday to stock up. I got into that panic of wanting to stock up. And so I just felt that I wanted to create a group where we could discuss how you're feeling, because it's okay to feel fearful, but
Right.
you can't let it consume you, or else you're just going to breed more fear and panic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I would create this group and have positive stuff in the group, ideas and advice for people where whether it's mindset or business related, and also interview different people to see how you're feeling. So
Yeah, I think this is a
yeah.
great idea because I was actually speaking to my father this morning, who I haven't actually gotten to talk to much because he was in Montreal. He came back yesterday and he was saying, he regrets ever getting on Facebook. He's retired. He's been 1 month on Facebook actually.
Oh.
So he's a stupid newbie. And he was just like, he had to just he regrets coming onto Facebook because it's all this mess, as well as on like his WhatsApp and things like that. And
Yes, yes.
yeah, it's there. And, based on my marketing knowledge, how Facebook works is, for example, if you stop to read something in the feed and Facebook sees that, it thinks you want more of it. And it's so funny how Facebook algorithms work, because the more you continue to watch it and read, the more they keep feeding it to you. And such is fear, emotional fear. The more you focus on the fear,
Yes.
is the more it perpetuates. So it's quite interesting, the predicament that we're in. And so, one of the tips that I would say is just you really got to start censoring where you put your attention.
Definitely. Yes, right. Exactly. And one thing I have heard from some different calls that I've been on since is that it's very important to start a morning routine, and your morning routine should not start with the coronavirus app on your phone, which
No.
I've heard some people talk about having.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't start like that, nor
Oh,
should
I
you
didn't
end
even
the
know.
day.
There's
Yeah,
an
apparently.
app, a coronavirus app.
Yeah,
Oh
this
my
gives you all
God.
the stats and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it, just like you shouldn't be watching the news at nighttime right before you go to bed, because that's all going to go in your subconscious mind while you're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And again, whatever you think about is what you will see and what will become, and it just perpetuates. So yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the initial pangs of fear that we have, talking about Thursday and stocking up, because, you know, the same time was when I heard the news. I went to pick up my kids, and I heard the rumors that they might be, you know, closing down schools for 3 weeks. And I have two kids, a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. And I thought it was just kind of rumors, and it's kind of hard to know where, you know, who's saying what. And
Yeah,
I get there, and the daycare that my kids are at, they're like, you know, they're probably not going to be open over the March break. And so naturally, I think human instinct is to, you know, fear just gets us in, a lot of us, into solution mode. Okay, I got to get stuff. I got to make sure I'm packed up for 3 weeks, that sort of thing.
right.
I think where fear gets out of hand is when you've done all that you can for the scenario, and you're still trying to take control of a situation that you really have no control over.
Right.
And that you know, moment, that kind of need for wanting more control begins to build on the fear. And so, you know, I practice mindfulness a lot. It's a part of my daily life, you know, as a coach. And for me, it's easy for me because I've been practicing, you know, just let it go. You only need to know what you need to do for today, and even not for today, for the next 2 weeks. I think the fear builds when you're like, what about April? What about May, June, July? Is this going to escalate? Is it going to? And then we start entertaining all these questions that nobody has answers to.
Right. And you can just start going around and around, and just, it's like a snowball
Yeah.
that keeps rolling down the hill and getting bigger. So yeah, for sure. And that it's important, like what you say about the loss of control. That's what it all comes down to, is everybody is so used to having control, especially with your routines with school, where you
Right.
drop your kids for school and they go to school and they come home, and you get up in the morning and you go to work. You know, everything's routine, and all of a sudden it's all gone,
Mm-hmm.
and you have no control. And what somebody was mentioning a couple times so far I've heard is the whole concept of surrendering. We just have to surrender because we don't have control.
Right.
And if you try to spend your time claiming control and taking control, all you're going to do is just consume yourself with fear and panic. And
Right.
that's not going to serve you any good.
No, it doesn't. It's not a productive activity. You know, it's not a productive. And I think keeping our minds busy is something we naturally want to keep our minds occupied, right? As
Right.
much as, you know, we have tools like meditation to calm the mind. Even in meditation, you still are focusing on one thing, whether it be breath or something. And so your mind is looking for something to focus on. So I think one of the best things to do is not try to stop thinking, but just redirect your thoughts. Um, uh, Getting into a great book. During this time, I have totally rediscovered my love for crafts. I was such a huge crafter as a child, and that kind of disappeared, I think, after high school or something. And so I have two girls, and we have 3 weeks at home, and we've been kind of chatting about starting a YouTube channel for such a long time, a craft YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so just it's a big trend where, you know, little kids or people will get on YouTube and create a craft and film themselves, just
Yep.
their hands, creating a craft. And so we had some really cool stuff happen where we had an Amazon box, a huge Amazon box, and my littlest one, Summer, was like, don't throw that away. I was going to use it as a mat to paint on, but she's like, no, let's make a dollhouse out of this. And I'll share it in the group eventually, but we totally cut that apart, made 2 floors. There's like an elevator with a popsicle stick that makes
Oh,
the dolls go up and
nice.
down stairs. So, you know, my point here is in redirecting my thoughts to, well, what can I focus my attention on? It doesn't need to be work, even though I do work from home. Just what can I do? And you'll be surprised where your mind will lead you. Again, our mind always takes momentum. It always wants to go deeper and deeper into a state of focus and trance. So, you can redirect your attention to the fears and go deep into that, or redirect yourself into a book, get lost in a book, get lost in an activity, which is going to be super helpful.
Right. And we need to realize that, again, we have no choice. We can't do anything about this. And so we need to appreciate the fact that we've been told to slow down and we've been given this time, and you have this time that you can use to, like you say, you were talking about a YouTube channel for a long time. Now you have the time to focus on it. So coming up with a list of things that you've always wanted to do, but you always said you didn't have enough time for, just because you chose to do something otherwise. Now you can focus on that, which is what I'm going to do in terms of doing videos, because I said I was going to do videos starting that was like a year ago I talked about it, and now I'm starting to do them during this time. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
And that's great too, because I'm anxious to see the dollhouse, but that's great because it's giving you something to do with your girls too.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, catching up on things. I found what was interesting is because of the need to just take care of necessities and the simple things, making sure we have food, making sure that we're all safe inside, making sure we're getting fresh air and going for walks. Because there has been such an emphasis globally on necessities of living peacefully and safe. It's so funny. I feel like my plate of to-dos just kind of like crumbled, and now there's just, what are the essentials? What needs to get done other than, the go that we have of every day. So there's some, if
Right.
you allow yourself to see the positives of what's going on, right? In honoring of, people that have passed, and I know that there are people that are ill,
Yes.
and it is unfortunate. We do have to understand, though, and I say this in all, I'm saying this as nicely and softly as possible. These things happen where people get ill and things like that. And at the same time, if you can just focus, choose to find the good, just make a list, brainstorm what good things are coming about of this. I'm sure you'll find some magic in that. Absolutely.
Right. True. Yes. Yeah. And you're right. It's because it's forcing us to think about going to a more simpler life and more, spending time with family, spending time in nature outdoors, which for some people, even if you always wanted to, a lot of times you're just, like you say, go, and so that would be put on the back burner. But now when you are stuck in your home like this, you do want to get out and get a break. And it's nice that we are in March and not January when this is happening. So we can get outside and we can enjoy it. And you can now hear the birds chirping as well, as spring is coming. So yeah, that's definitely something that helps. But like you say, bringing everything, thinking of the positive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as a matter of fact, someone was making a post in another group that I was part of, and I think it was, I don't know, I don't remember the location. I know it's somewhere in Europe, but apparently swans that never used to glide where they glide on the waters came back out, and there's certain animals in nature that they have noticed have come out to play because there isn't so much human traffic happening in terms of the streets and things like that. So it's funny how Mother Nature is having her own time of play. And healing as well when we think about it.
Right.
Because there's not as many cars, there's not as many things in operation during the day. Can you imagine 3 weeks of rest in terms of just gas emissions and all that? It's
Yes.
quite a bit. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. And that was in Venice. That was in the canals in
Yeah.
Venice. And
Awesome.
it showed that it was the water was clear. And I've been to Venice. I was just there in 2018, and that water was nothing near clear.
Oh, wow.
Nothing even near clear. It was like murky swamp water,
Oh,
really.
wow.
And now it's so clear that the dolphins are coming into it. So, and even they showed China, the pollution above China from the air. And again, they showed that how much clearer it was because of that period of time with the factories all being closed.
Wow.
And everything. So yeah, it's hard for the children that can't understand why they can't go out and play, but it's not easy for any of us really, because this is something new, and it's so good that we do have this technology as well, that we can connect with people through the computer, because this we're so used to going to networking events and where you can hug everybody, and now you're isolated in your home, with your family, but we don't have that connection. So
Yeah.
it's really good that we have this.
Yeah, I was actually saying that I'm so grateful for I can't imagine not being able to connect with everyone still online. I think then maybe it would be even a lot tougher.
For sure.
At least there's just so many people that have made themselves available to hear as well, or have conversations like this,
Yes.
and just forums to get support, and just to stay in the loop, right? And just kind of remind you that you're going to be okay. So it's a beautiful thing.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing. The community is really important to get through this together. Yeah. And then the other thing is too, of course, self-care is important, and it's important to keep some sort of routine as well. But the other thing is, for those of us with small businesses, we can, like for myself, where I had events booked that I had tables at, and that was the way that I was going to be selling. That's all gone because everything was canceled or postponed. So now the focus is to bring the business more online. And this is, I guess, the positive side of things is it gives you the chance to think of some creative ways to develop your business, whether it be bringing it online with online courses and things like that, or creating communities. I don't know what your thoughts are on some ideas.
So a lot of people, because this is what my work is, and I've found for the couple of years that I've been teaching this, it's kind of like something that people know they got to do, but they've never really had any kick in the pants to go do it. So now there's the kick in the pants, and people are seeing the benefit right now, at least, of getting on technology, finishing whatever sales strategies, getting in tune with the social media platforms. There are certain apps and businesses online that are booming right now, just booming because they've already kind of been set up. And now people are just online. That's the only way they can communicate. I know a lot of food ordering apps they're having their record sales right now because you can only get delivery. So, I think that because we are kind of cooped up, now is the best time to refresh your branding and your marketing, explore different mediums. LinkedIn, by the way, is at its peak time. It's kind of like Facebook 5 or 10 years ago, when you got a lot of engagement and could get a lot of reach. So if anyone's on here for business, it's for any industry, by the way, as well. If you go on LinkedIn, it's a new culture. It's not really stuffy anymore where you had to be very formal. It's actually very much like Facebook, where people are posting funny memes. Their headshot is more casual than it was before. So
Right.
there's a lot of opportunity online, and it's never too late to get started with that, and just jump right in, pick a platform, consume content. Again, follow people that are going to be more inspiring or encouraging versus people that are posting negativity.
Right.
And you won't see it much in your feed. To be honest, I have to say that I don't see that much negativity on my feed, because again, if you feed into the post will feed back to you. So
Right.
do your best to follow people that are posting content that resonates with you. And over time, the algorithms on all platforms will understand what you like. Another thing you could do, by the way, is if you see a post that you don't like, you can actually mute the person. There are little buttons where you can click mute. This is both on Facebook and Instagram, where you can mute them, and you could even unfollow if that's an option for you.
Right. And I think you can do that, like a mute or snooze for 30 days.
Yes.
Which is kind of a good, a month is a good time right now.
Right. Absolutely. I love that.
Yes. So that's good, good ideas. Mm-hmm. And I do see as well, a lot of people are offering like you say, their time for anybody who wants to talk, who wants to call them. And a lot of people are offering free strategy sessions and things like that. I even saw a CRM that is offering free setup, where it used to cost, and so it's nice to see that everybody's wanting to help each other. Mm-hmm. That's really good for the small business communities. It's a bit difficult for some of the places, like the restaurants that have had to close or just go to takeout. And now, as of today, non-essential services were asked to close. And my hairstylist, she just closed her doors today, which is difficult. But of course, she knows that it's for the safety of everybody.
Right.
That's what you have to do.
So there's there's a few people that are in my entrepreneurial business community that are working financial services and grants and things like that. If you go to the Canada Revenue website, they did announce, I think it was late yesterday, a whole list of things that you could apply for, especially for if you're a freelancer, if you work part-time. There was just a long list of HST top-ups, children's benefits top-ups, and emergency fund for people and businesses. I highly recommend that everybody watching that, if you find yourself in a situation where you have lost revenue in your business, go take a look, because there are a lot of packages out there, funding out there to support you, and just kind of give you a bit of a buffer for your loss. So I think one amazing thing, I did a webinar yesterday and I said this, one thing I find that's been amazing is how much we have as a community have come together, even though we're separated. We've separated quite a bit. Yes. Social distancing, but we have come together in a way of supporting each other, and even globally. So again, we're learning, and there's also a lot of lessons here. And
Yes.
I just wonder, what parts of this scenario we're going to take away with us after this is kind of passed, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there is definitely there are lessons to be learned in there, and I feel like we were just I heard somebody say something that we were just off balance as a world before this.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of division, in the world, and I feel like this is going to bring us together as a global community to be a
Mm-hmm.
better world going forward.
Yeah,
I'm hoping for that at least. Yeah.
I agree. I'd like to be an optimist. Again, we
Yeah.
don't have the answers, and we really only have what we can deal with now. So it's just better to choose to be an optimist rather than a pessimist, because again, we know the results of focusing on the fearful part of it. So yeah, I choose to believe that too. Um,
Yes.
yeah.
Right. For sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Do you have any other thoughts or suggestions or anything you've seen from anybody that might? I did notice that there's a lot of people doing online
Yeah.
exercises,
Yeah.
fitness, all the
Yeah.
ones with fitness studios and yoga and Zumba and everything. So there's quite a few people doing that, which is
There,
great.
there has actually been almost anything you can think of that has transitioned online through
Yeah.
Zoom. I mean, art lessons, calligraphy, I've seen that. Lots of fitness lessons, a lot of networking, tons of networking. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting more networking than I've ever gotten. As a matter of fact, I've made so much connections globally and locally. Like, I mean, me and you haven't even really sat down and have a conversation until now, right?
In a while, yeah, yeah, true, true. Yeah,
Right?
I've been on Zoom
Yeah.
like every day quite a bit,
Yeah.
and finally had a coffee with somebody that we've said we're going to have a coffee since last September.
Right.
We finally sat down and had it. Yeah, that's the one thing when you were saying that online businesses are booming.
Yeah.
One thing would be Zoom,
Mhm.
because Zoom
Yeah.
is so busy that apparently they're having a bit of issues sometimes as well because there's so much demand that
Right.
it's going crazy. And online grocery is another thing
Yep. Yeah.
that,
I actually have a coupon here for one. They sent it in the mail to me today. I said, I've been getting flyers from this company every month, and I keep saying I'm going to try it. Probably will. But
yes,
it's quite a lot of online booming. I think
yes,
in terms of tips, what I posted some videos today on it. Just remember that online connection is very similar to offline. You want to cultivate the relationships still. You don't assume that when you friend or follow someone that you're in automatic rapport to sell to them what your offer is. Um,
right,
Being aware of multiple posts of one item, like if you have a product and you keep posting that one product online, it's just going to push people away from you. You got to build relationships. It's okay to bring those relationships. Start with maybe commenting on their post, bringing that conversation into a private message. If it's a right fit, then get onto a Zoom call. I just find that when people are really excited to jump online, they're just kind of blasting rather than
yeah,
interacting. Yeah.
right. And this is definitely not the time to be blasting
No.
and trying to push sales at people, because right now people are only thinking of the necessities.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're selling toilet paper, then you might have a good chance of selling it. But other than that, everybody's thinking of necessities. So it's best to cultivate the relationships now. And
Mm-hmm.
the other tip that I heard was reaching out to your customers and your clients and just saying, how are you doing? Just asking them how they're doing right now as we're going through this. I had a few people who reached out to me, just say, just checking in.
Mm,
And it's just a great way to keep that relationship going as well, for when, and cultivate it so that when we do come out the other side of this, that these people will be remembering you,
right. Absolutely.
remembering that you were there for them during the crisis.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So, all
Wonderful.
right. Okay. Well,
All
thank you,
right.
Cherene. That was really great. Great talking to you.
You as well.
And we will get through this together, and we'll get through this as a community. I really am, after, like I say, after I think the initial shock and everything really hit everybody, but I have seen quite a difference even in the Facebook feed in terms of all the nice stories that are being posted and shared now,
Yeah.
lately, the last
Yeah.
couple days.
Yeah. There's quite a bit of inspirational stories. I was
Yes.
looking at all the memes, the funny little cartoons. If you have a good sense of humor, then just take
Yes.
your time watching those, reading those. They're fun.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few of them. I mean, just lightens it up a bit, find some humor in it. So yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, so thank you again, and we will get through this. And I look forward to when we can see each other in person again
Yes,
as well.
absolutely.
Yes, okay. All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Shereen. And everybody, good night.
Good night.
Thank you.